Well, it's time to do some infrared testing. Okay, I'm using the ELEGOO Super Starter Kit ESP32. I've paid for all of this with my own money. No sponsorships here. And I'm using their code for the first part of the demo. And I'm going to actually use, for the second part later, this IRremote code. But this code here, you can get at that time over there out of the QR code or through their Wiki page. So this first off proves that it works. I'll start off with their remote. And as I push the button, power, volume, function, etc. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is their remote, and of course the code is set up for it. But okay, how about somebody else's one? How about this one? The on button says power, okay. Timer is volume, function. So you'd actually have to change the code to get this one to work properly. There, 7 comes out as 1. But, okay, what's the next one? I got another one. These things are all over the place. Oops. 1, 3. So, different things. You just have to change the code to get it to work with this one. This is why these things, you pick up one and go like, okay, this isn't the right one. Just randomly try buttons until you find out which buttons work the best. Same here, other button, but it's giving the codes here. So this one works. How about this? It's a remote control for a robot. Now, if you watch down in here, it is lighting up, so it is detecting the infrared from this, but it's not actually figuring out what the code is. Also, if you watch this, that goes for quite a long time, so there's probably more bytes being sent, and this is very quick. And then, next one. And I have checked the batteries in this. You can see that it is receiving it, but it is not decoding it. And all of the ones that we're working are this NEC standard, the protocol. So what I'm going to do next is I'll do a very quick show of the code. Then I'll start with the next one and use the library that's supplied here. And as usual, I should show the wiring on here. Though if you go to the tutorial, it is exactly the same. For this module here, the center pin is 3.3 volts. The pin over here is ground, and the signal pin is on the left side. It says Y, and it's going over to GPIO 19. So to understand the code, you got to figure out first off what this infrared detector is doing. For some reason, they reverse the pins on this, but whatever. They have ground coming in here. It then crosses over to the center pin. Voltage comes in here, crosses over to this pin, which then also connects it up to this LED and resistor, and the signal line, which actually went straight through. When there's no infrared signal coming in, it's held at VCC. So this is actually at 3.3 volts. When you push the button on your remote control, it then pulls it down to ground when it's receiving light. So that's important to understand because I'm going to show you now over here. This is the NEC Protocol. They transmit out at for 9 milliseconds a high, which of course on the ESP32 is going to be listed as a low on the pin. So when you're looking at this, you have to think about everything opposite of what it is. But the key thing is the timing. So what it does is it receives the light and it's going to pull pin 19 low for 9 milliseconds. Then it'll go high for 4.5 milliseconds, and then it'll pulse low, then high, pulse low, and high, etc. So the way they actually determine a 1 and a 0 is once you've gone that pulse low, when it comes back up, if it's 562.5 microseconds long, with that there, then it is a 0. But if it's a 1.6875 milliseconds long, then it's a 1. So all you need to do is trigger on that pulse and then count how long the interval is before you get the next burst pulse. And I'll just call that this part here as a burst pulse from this point on. Now, great. That sets up the protocol. So over here in the code, oh, and the message that you get is this here. Yep. You get the header saying, hey, talking to you. Then you get this part which says, yes, I actually am talking to you. Then they send out the address. Then they send out the address with the logical inverse. So in a way, that's your checksum idea. You're just checking this better be equal to this. Then you send out your command and command. So the whole message is 67.5 milliseconds long. So let's see. How do they do this in code then? This is only good for the NEC protocol, and there's more than one protocol out there. That's why when I do the next set of code using that library, it's supposed to be able to read more protocols. And I'm not going to be going through the code on that because it's going to be horrendously long. But, okay. Okay, unside, read pulse. That's just setting stuff up. Void setup. Turn on the COM port so that it can be displayed on the serial monitor. So now we're waiting for the low. So hence a signal comes in, the pin 19 gets pulled low. So if it's low, then it checks because now this pulse read pulse is starting to count as soon as it goes low and determine how long it is. Now it needs to be 9 point what was it 9 milliseconds long. So what they're doing is they're saying if it was less than 8 milliseconds or greater than 10 milliseconds, then it probably isn't legit and kicks back to the beginning of the loop. But hey, you've got the message coming in, the header, the first header. Then this part here, well, it's then shot it up high. 4.5 seconds, you're reading, you're counting as long. And if it's between, well, there's the 4.5 you want. If it's less than 4 or greater than 5, again, there's an error occurred, and kick it back up to the loop. Then we get into the next part, which is, yes, I didn't need to reduce this any, the address and the command. So it wants to read in 32 bits worth of information. 8 for the normal address, 8 for the logical inverse, 8 for the command, and 8 for the logical inverse of the command. And that's what this part does. Okay, we got past here, we're into here now. Let's just pull it down a bit. Now what it's going to do is it's looking for that burst pulse, and it wants okay, there, return. Okay, if you got nothing, then it's kicking it out again. Here, it counts how long the pulse is after the burst, and if it's a 1680 microseconds, it's a 1. If it's 560 microseconds, it's a 0. And I don't know the C code for this, but apparently it's just stuffing it into a variable, and there'll be a hex number. And down here it then comes to output the hex, switch case. What it's going to do is on the switch case is it's going to look for this address and say it's this one, then it prints out that. This code is designed so that you don't have any, you said it right at the beginning, no external libraries, because that could cause timing problems. So that's how it reads it in. Then after it prints it out, leaves a little bit of time for debounce, and it comes back up to the top of the loop, and then waits for this next pulse, like that. And this is demo number 2. So I loaded IRremote, this one here. I then went into its, where are you? Okay, library, IRremote, went into examples, went down, found the one called Simple Receiver. I've loaded it in. Actually, I went straight to that spot and loaded it from there. It came up. There were no issues compiling it and loading it. So here's this one. Giving different command. Okay, the address. Not sure why the address isn't changing, but the commands sure do. And this one here. Comes up different stuff. Now, this one here. Basically it's saying, let's clean it off. There we go. Says it's a 24-bit. There's what information. What does it mean? I don't know other than 24 bits. I know what that means. Then we have this one here, which of course didn't register before. And it says it's an unknown, let's get to the top part, 32-bit platform, 40-bit platform. And there's some of the information. So what you can do is actually just load the library. You have to hunt around for whichever I/O they're using. This one is using 15, I think it was. And change your wiring a tiny bit, and you can just go straight from their examples. I don't know if all of them work, but hey, time to dig around in them.